picture this. A beautiful wedding in Chennai, India.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2018.
Yeah.
Imagine all the sights, the sounds,
Yeah.
the vibrant colors,
Yes.
the amazing smell,
The aromas.
the aromas of that traditional South Indian cuisine,
Mm-hmm.
the joyous melodies, filling the air. Hundreds of guests have gathered to celebrate Arun Kumar. He's a promising, young software engineer.
Okay.
And Priya Ramesh, a beautiful teacher.
Yeah.
It's like a scene straight out of a Bollywood movie.
Right.
A whirlwind of love, laughter, and blessings, but, lurking beneath the surface of this fairy tale wedding is a deadly secret. A plot driven by heartbreak. And a thirst for revenge that's about to shatter the illusion of happiness.
Yeah, it's a classic tale of love gone wrong, where that line between passion and obsession really blurs, and the consequences are utterly devastating.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Welcome to CrimePod Castle's Twisted Love series.
When we think of weddings, we envision joy, hope, new beginnings. But in this case, what should have been the happiest day of Arun and Priya's lives quickly descends into a nightmare.
Yeah.
A scene of panic and chaos.
What's really unsettling is that, the perpetrator isn't some unknown criminal,
Right.
some shadowy figure, lurking in the background.
Right.
It's someone Arun knew, someone who was supposed to be celebrating with him.
Yeah.
His ex-girlfriend, Divya Nair.
Okay, so let's rewind a bit to understand how this all unfolded. Arun and Priya, they seemed like the perfect couple, right?
Right.
They'd been dating for 3 years, their families were thrilled with the match, and their future looked incredibly bright.
Yeah.
But, as you mentioned, there was this shadow from Arun's past, this unresolved conflict with Divya that was about to rear its ugly head in the most horrifying way imaginable.
Divya was a former colleague of Arun's. She was very much in love with him.
And the breakup hit her incredibly hard. And as we'll kind of get into later, breakups can be really difficult, but in some cases, that emotional turmoil can manifest in unhealthy, even dangerous ways.
So Arun and Priya are blissfully unaware of Divya's simmering resentment as their wedding day approaches.
Right.
It's February 17th, 2018.
Okay.
And the stage is set for what everyone believes will be a beautiful, traditional South Indian ceremony.
Right.
Yeah.
The ceremony itself goes off without a hitch. It's during the reception, amidst the music, the dancing, and the celebratory feast, that things take a terrifying turn.
Oh, wow. So guests begin experiencing a wave of strange symptoms.
Exactly. Dizziness, nausea, weakness, some even faint, collapsing in the middle of the festivities.
Just imagine like you're at this wedding, you're surrounded by loved ones, everyone's having a good time.
Yeah.
And then suddenly people around you start falling ill.
Yeah, it's just the atmosphere of joy and celebration quickly transforms into panic and confusion. And it's important to note here that cyanide poisoning, which we now know is the cause of these symptoms, is incredibly fast-acting.
Wow.
And can be fatal, within minutes.
Yeah.
So you can understand the sheer terror that gripped the wedding guests as they realized something was terribly wrong.
Absolutely. And Priya, the bride, starts showing symptoms after taking a sip of her drink.
Right.
And Arun, who was right beside her, isn't spared either.
No.
The very people this celebration was meant to honor become victims of this insidious attack.
It's a chilling turn of events, and as we'll see, the investigation that follows is a race against time to not only uncover the culprit, but also understand the depths of despair and resentment that could drive someone to commit such a heinous act. So the scene at the reception, it just completely descends into chaos.
Oh, yeah.
Guests are rushing to help those who've collapsed, while others are frantically trying to call for help.
Yeah.
It's just a completely chaotic situation with fear and confusion just gripping everyone present.
Yeah, you can only imagine the terror and confusion as this wedding celebration morphs into a medical emergency.
Right.
Ambulances arrive, sirens blaring, adding to the sense of urgency and fear.
Yeah.
Guests, many of whom were experiencing symptoms themselves, are rushed to nearby hospitals.
And it's in the midst of this chaos that suspicion starts to arise. The symptoms are too widespread.
Yeah.
Too sudden to be a simple case of food poisoning.
Right.
So the possibility of a deliberate act starts to take hold.
So the focus shifts from treating the victims to finding the culprit.
Exactly.
The wedding venue transforms into a crime scene.
Yeah.
And the Chennai police are called in to investigate this, bewildering turn of events.
And this is where the meticulous work of forensic science comes into play.
Right.
Investigators meticulously collect samples of the food and drinks,
Yeah.
examine the serving utensils, and just like comb through the venue for any potential clues that might, point to the source of the poisoning.
It's like a giant puzzle, and the investigators are searching for those critical pieces.
Yeah,
That will reveal the bigger picture.
exactly.
And amidst this intricate web of evidence, one name keeps surfacing: Divya Nair.
Remember, she was seen on surveillance footage entering the kitchen area hours before the reception,
Right.
carrying a suspicious-looking bag.
Yeah.
It's a detail that initially seemed insignificant,
Yeah.
but now takes on, much more sinister implication.
Right, and those witness accounts from the catering staff,
Yeah.
recalling seeing Divya near the drinks, meant for Arun and Priya, just add another layer of suspicion.
But suspicion alone isn't enough for a conviction. The investigators need concrete evidence, something that directly links the Divya to the cyanide poisoning.
Right.
And they find it thanks to the power of, forensic analysis.
So they discover a discarded bottle
Yes.
near the venue's trash bin, and this seemingly insignificant piece of trash holds the key to solving the case.
Forensic experts carefully analyze the bottle and find traces of cyanide.
Wow.
Then they run a fingerprint analysis.
Okay.
And the results are conclusive. The fingerprints on the bottle belong to Divya Nair.
It's the smoking gun,
Yeah.
the piece of evidence that directly connects Divya to the crime.
Exactly.
Armed with this evidence, the police waste no time in apprehending her.
When confronted with the evidence, Divya breaks down and confesses, admits to poisoning the drinks, driven by a wave of jealousy and, a desperate desire to make Arun suffer for breaking her heart.
But how does she get her hands on cyanide?
Right.
It's not exactly an easy substance to obtain.
That's a question investigators delve into as well.
Yeah.
They uncover that Divya, a chemistry graduate, had access to chemicals through her work at a research lab. It's a chilling reminder of how easily specialized knowledge can be misused.
Right.
How love and knowledge, two seemingly positive forces, can be twisted and manipulated to inflict pain.
I mean, it's just so hard to fathom the level of betrayal Arun and Priya must have felt
Absolutely.
on their wedding day,
Right.
surrounded by loved ones. And then they find themselves fighting for their lives because of someone Arun once cared for.
And this betrayal cuts deep.
Yeah.
They're dealing with the physical trauma of poisoning, the shock of the event itself,
Oh, yeah.
and the emotional fallout of such a targeted attack.
Right.
It's a lot to process.
Yeah.
And the psychological scars can be far deeper and more enduring than any physical wounds.
It makes you think about the balance of trust and relationships. Arun and Priya probably never suspected Divya was capable of something so horrifying.
Right, and that's the insidious nature of these crimes.
Yeah.
They often stem from seemingly normal relationships that take this dark turn.
Right.
It's a reminder to be aware of red flags, to trust your instincts, and to seek help or distance yourself if you sense a relationship becoming unhealthy or potentially dangerous.
So Divya confesses. The evidence is irrefutable. What happens next? Does she express remorse for her actions? Does she even try to justify what she did?
Well, the trial is a complex affair.
Yeah.
The prosecution presents a very strong case, emphasizing Divya's premeditation, her access to cyanide, and the clear intent to harm.
Right.
They paint a picture of a scorned lover driven to a cold and calculated act of revenge.
And what about Divya's defense? Do they try to argue that she wasn't in her right mind? That she acted impulsively?
They do try to portray Divya as emotionally unstable, someone driven to a desperate act by the pain of heartbreak.
Okay.
They argue that she didn't fully grasp the consequences of her actions, that she never intended to kill anyone.
So it becomes a battle of narratives.
Right.
A cold, calculating criminal versus a heartbroken woman who made a terrible mistake.
Exactly.
What does the jury ultimately decide?
Well, in the end, the evidence is too damning.
Yeah.
The jury finds Divya guilty of attempted murder and sentences her to 20 years in prison. It's a harsh sentence, but one that reflects the severity of her crime
Right.
and the lasting impact it's had on so many lives.
20 years is a long time to reflect on your actions.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if she ever truly understood the pain she inflicted, the lives she disrupted,
Yeah.
the ripple effect of that one fateful day.
It's hard to say for sure, but this case serves as a powerful reminder that actions have consequences, that love and heartbreak, while powerful emotions, cannot justify acts of violence or revenge.
This deep dive has been a journey into the dark side of human emotion, where love curdles into obsession and despair fuels a dangerous act.
Yeah.
It's a chilling reminder that even in the midst of joyous celebration, Darkness can lurk, and the consequences can be devastating.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up, it's important to remember that help is available for those struggling with difficult emotions.
Yes.
If you or someone you know is experiencing overwhelming heartbreak, anger, or thoughts of revenge, please reach out to mental health professionals. There are resources available, and no one should have to navigate these challenging feelings alone.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of CrimePod Castle's Twisted Love series.
Yes.
We hope this deep dive into the Chennai Wedding Day Poisoning has been insightful, if not a little unsettling.
If you're interested in exploring more stories like this, be sure to follow and subscribe to CrimePod Castle and our YouTube channel for more captivating deep dives into the world of crime.
Yes.
Until next time, stay vigilant, stay safe, and stay curious.